Welcome to the Grow Your Business and Grow Your Wealth podcast with Gary Heldt. Gary is an expert in helping business owners put together a plan that will provide a better future for their businesses, themselves, and their families. On the podcast, Gary interviews other professionals who share his vision, and together they share secrets and strategies any business owner can use to build a better financial foundation for your business and your life.
Hey, welcome back to the podcast. This week, my guest is Charles Gaudet, and he is the founder and CEO of Predictable Profits. He is a top business coach that has helped more than 2,000 entrepreneurs design companies that grow strategically, not accidentally. He's known by Yahoo Finance as the CEO Whisperer. Welcome, Charles.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
So, what made you decide to get into business coaching?
It happened by accident. It's funny, a number of the companies that I've founded over the years,
Yeah.
it was just all happened by accident.
Right.
I've been an entrepreneur since age of 4. I never had a traditional quote unquote real job.
Okay.
After graduating college, I started a business nominated by Ernst & Young as being one of the nation's best seed stage companies. At 24, I created my first multi-million-dollar business. And after that, I just continued to build and grow companies. And then in 2010, somebody came to me and they said, can I just pay you to help me grow my company? And I was like, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I
Right.
guess, sure. And I did it. And I just so happened to be good at it. And then I did it again and again. And then Predictable Profits was born through that.
Right. So, what is it about your approach with growing business that's different than others?
It's a really good question. So, if you look at some of the bigger firms out there, bigger consulting firms, you think Deloitte, McKinsey, and BCG, and all that other stuff. And what they did is they've created these frameworks to help companies, big companies, nine-figure companies, stay on that growth path and just grow consistently and so forth. And one of the things that I realized is that there is no framework for 6, 7, and 8-figure companies.
Mm-mm.
And so for most of us, as we're growing a company, our default is, well, work hard. It's work hard, it's hard work, it's referrals, it's word of mouth, and we just kind of build this business from this basis of hard work, word of mouth, and referrals, and we just, do what we can. And then somehow somebody says, "Hey, you should do social media." And so, okay, we'll do a little bit of social media. And then somebody says, "No, you should buy advertising on Google." And it's like, okay, we'll buy a little advertising, and no, email marketing, and then this and that. And people just kind of throw a bunch of things at you. And sometimes it hits and it does well. Sometimes it doesn't. Many times people just kind of give up and they're like, well, I'm just going to hire somebody to do all this stuff for me and, hope I get some sort of result. So ever since 2010, it was just kind of the way that I think in terms of systems and frameworks, and it's the way even the prior businesses that I started, it kind of had to that's just the way that my brain operates for good or bad.
Right.
And so I started building this framework. And this is a framework that was necessary. And to the best of my knowledge, it's the only framework that has ever existed. And it does exist for 6, 7, and 8-figure companies that are looking to grow predictably month after month, year after year. And that framework we call the Predictable Profits Operating System. And that when you look at the results that we have, like why we got recognition by the International Business Times and MSN and Yahoo and all these others, it really has nothing to do about me. It's all about this framework that has just really stood the test of time and been robust.
How have you gotten owners to get out of the way? Get out of their own way is what it is. Because I
Yeah.
see so many times, they're limited because of their thinking. So how are you able to get them to change their thinking and their mindset to be able to succeed?
Gary, the interesting thing that nobody tells you about is that there's two very, very hard times to grow in a business. The first time is when we start. And we all know that.
Hmm.
But the second time is never really discussed. And what happens is when you build your business from hard work, word of mouth, and referrals, you actually end up falling into what we call this founder's trap. And you fall into this trap because you're successful. So it's kind of an interesting way to look at it. It's almost ironic. You fall into a trap because you're successful. But if you think of a common org chart, what happens is you have a CEO at the top, and then the people that report to the CEO are at the bottom. And then as your company gets bigger, it branches down and it continues to branch down. And that's what everybody believes like an organization chart looks like in a business. CEO at the top and everybody goes below. But when you run a founder-led business, it's actually the CEO is at the center of the chart. And marketing depends on all your
Hmm.
relationships. And then sales depends on your ability to close. And operations depend on you. And any client deliveries, deliverables that you're doing and whatnot, it does involve you, either your sign off or somehow you're getting involved and so forth. And so you're at the center of this org chart. And so, in order to get to that next level of growth, we got to remove you then from that org chart. And the mindset really is about, how do once people understand that they are the bottleneck, it's it's funny, we think we have to do more. And the metaphor I like to use is it's almost like we need more water coming out of the hose. So we're going to turn the spigot, try to get more water, and we're turning, we're looking at the end of the hose, and then we walk in and we're like, Gary, pick your foot up. Pick your foot up. You're standing on the hose.
Right.
And that's about as that's so what we look for is where are you the bottleneck in the business so that we can remove those bottlenecks. And as you remove those bottlenecks, it's not about doing more, it's actually about doing less and you start going. So if we look at it, there's three real common traps within the founder's trap. Number one is that word of mouth and referral doesn't scale. So
Mm-mm.
you have to create scalable marketing and sales strategies. There's a number of different ways to do that depending on the business and the industry that people are in. Number two is the sales trap. That's when all sales depend on you. It's all founder-led sales. So how do we break you away from founder-led sales? And there's everything from being real crystal clear on the offer that they're selling to building a sales playbook to how you train and manage a sales team. All that other fun stuff goes in there. And then there's the third trap, which is the scale trap. And that scale trap is when all decisions, everything just comes back to you. You get a Slack message that governs your day, email that governs your day. You have total guesswork throughout the business. Like you don't know which employees are actually performing, if they're hitting the numbers, what numbers should they be hitting. And it's really chaos. So you simplify the chaos. And we've had companies, even like a CEO of a manufacturing company. It was a family-run business, and he says it was passed down generation to generation. He said, Charlie, this is going to be crazy. This business has been around for almost 100 years. But the first time I feel like the lights have been turned on in the office, I actually know
Mm.
what's working and what's not working and who's in the right seat and who isn't in the right seat. And he goes, it just, for the first time, I have clarity over the business.
Yeah.
That in of itself is really powerful because if you know what's working, the theory of optimization is we'll just do more of what's working and then less of what's not working. And I mean, it's Gary, I'm almost embarrassed to admit this. I've gotten all this recognition. Our results that we get as a coaching company are very, very uncommon in the industry, which is part of the reason why we get these results. And I had somebody call me up and they're like, so what is your secret sauce? I don't understand. Like, what do you do? And it's like, it's so simple and it's so easy. I'm almost embarrassed because it really is just about, you know, it's not doing more, it's about doing less and it's optimizing what you're doing in front of you. And you just put a few little pieces to the puzzle in place, just makes growth a lot easier, pulls you out of the day to day and allows you to focus more on growing the business. I mean,
Yeah. No, no, I hear exactly what you're saying but it keeps going back to the old adage, oh, you got to work on the business, not in the business type thing. But
Yeah.
it keeps going back to whoever's in charge, whoever
You're right.
that person is getting them to get out of the way. Because again, your manufacturer guy you're just talking about, you finally were able to say, hey, stand over here, and put your glasses on and see what's going on. And
Right.
it makes a tremendous amount of difference. But the problem is that we get in our own way.
Yeah.
And I think that that's where you guys are so darn good, is getting the owners to get the hell out of the way and actually listen. And it's like, I don't know if it's, hey, you guys got special hearing aids that you put on us, or whatever it is to make us hear. But I think that that's where the magic is, in my opinion.
Wait, you're an accountant, right?
Yeah.
Okay, right. So you're an accountant, and so you went to school to learn accounting,
Right.
and they taught you how to become the best accountant you possibly could be. And then if you followed many of other accountants' traditional paths, you probably want to go work for somebody. And then as you work for somebody for a little while, you're like, you know what? I think I could do this on my own.
Hmm.
And then you go ahead and you start and you do it on your own. And the common belief is, well, as long as I'm the best accountant that I possibly can be, and I deliver the best service that I possibly could do, make everybody feel like they're the most important person that's out there. Best service, best product, the whole deal. My company will grow. It's inevitable. I'm really good at what I do. I'm a likable guy. It will grow. And then all of a sudden you realize the phone's not ringing as frequently as it should.
Hmm.
And there's a little bit of struggle. And at some point, you realize that there's a difference between being an accountant and then being a CEO.
Hmm.
And the businesses that grow are the ones that actually move themselves out of being the doers and then being that of actually the business owner. We have a woman that she's a therapist, and she was like, "Well, I I went to school. I wanted to be a good therapist and whatnot. I wanted to be on my own, and so I created this office, and I'm really, really good at everything that I do, and blah blah. But I know I want to do more." And so she lets me talk about her numbers because she's really proud of them. So she did 250,000 when we started working together, and so we said, okay, let's try to remove you out of being the doing so other people can be doing this stuff and we can focus on you and what it's going to take to grow that business. Right now, she now makes $250,000 every 3 weeks.
Wow.
And that's because and she's taken on much less of a client load. So she actually works less than she did when she was making 250,000 a year. She works less, but the level of the decisions she makes are worth, she'll make a seven-figure decision versus
Right.
before it was, should I take on another client this week,
Right.
And that really is the decision, the difference. It's optimizing the return on time.
Yeah. Yeah. You in some of your stuff, you talk about that growth should happen by design, not by
Yeah.
accident. Can you
Mhm.
explain that?
Yeah. Well, most people, they get up in the morning. And even before they got out of bed, they reach over, they grab their phone, and they check their emails. And then they're like, oh, okay, I know what I need to do today. And they get by in their office and they start responding to the emails. And then a Slack message comes in, and then they listen to their voicemail. And then they just go ahead and they just start responding. Somebody else is dictating their day, whether it's
Hmm.
employees, whether it's clients, whether it's vendors, whatever it might be, they're dictating their day. Then what happens is you go home at night, you put your head on the pillow, you might have worked a 12-hour day, you're completely exhausted, but you're frustrated because you feel like you got nothing done.
Hmm.
And that's a result of just being very reactive. Now, a strategic CEO is going to turn around and say, what's the most important thing that I need to focus in on today? And they come in with a plan. And that plan might be executing on a strategy and where everything is all laid out. They have the full SOPs, they got everything, but executing on a strategy that's going to allow them to attract more clients. It might be creating a playbook that allows them to say, okay, this is what I've been doing for so long. Let me just sort of create a model after the stuff that I'm doing, so I can delegate that to somebody else, and have someone else start doing this and get more of that stuff off the plate. But they have a plan. They know they're proactively doing what they need to do, as opposed to just being reactive and let everything kind of thrown in. And that really is the big difference. I think by nature we seem to be so reactive to anything and everything that comes at our way.
Right.
And growth doesn't happen from a reactive state of mind. We need a roadmap. We need a plan. We need a framework. We need somebody to tell us, okay, what is the most important thing that I got to do? We work with some really, really smart people. And so it's never a matter of, is somebody smart enough to grow a business? Because it just happens to be some of the smartest people in the world. We're talking even, I've got a couple clients. I know I've mentioned some small clients, but I've got a couple clients in the nine-figure range.
Hmm.
Most recent, I had a conversation with somebody who was the CEO of a $34 billion company, right? So we're talking like massive,
Yeah.
massive company. But they're like, look, I just need clarity. Somebody told me we built two of the most successful coaching companies in the world. They were our clients, and they're obviously brilliant because they've done this for thousands of other companies. He says, "You know why I hired you?" I go, "Why is this?" And he said, "Because your nose is 1 inch from your mouth, but it takes somebody else to tell you you have bad breath." Gary, I don't know if you're
Never heard that
married.
before.
I don't know if you're married or not, but I can tell you in my own house, I'll be sitting there and I'll open up the cupboards and I'll be like, Heather, where's the salt? It's right in front of you. It's not. Where's the salt? It's right in front of you. I'm telling you, it is not here. And then she reaches over my shoulder and she pulls it out right in front of my face.
Hmm.
And it just sometimes it takes that additional perspective. I'm certain in the line of work that you do, because you must, if people are working with you, they're already successful. Let's face it.
Right.
The people that are working with you, you can turn around and you can show them something in their financials that they've been dealing with every single day, but you just like put it in a different context that all of a sudden it was like, oh,
Right.
how
Right.
did I not see that?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I think that's why I said, with the listening and so forth. But, like I said, I think that you guys put hearing aids on people to get them to actually listen. Um, what what's your book you're reading now?
Well, I'll tell you, it's less about a book, but it's more about an obsession over a general pool of content.
Okay.
Um, and it's really all around AI. Even the companies that don't think that their industry will be disrupted by AI,
Hmm.
I guarantee every single one of your listeners has been disrupted by AI. I guarantee you have been
100%.
disrupted by AI.
Yep.
But I'm going to tell you something that nobody else is talking about right now. And I'm going to tell you where you've been disrupted by AI that chances are you never even knew until now. Or maybe you do. I mean, maybe you do. You got a pretty good pulse on things. It's the buyer's journey.
Hmm.
You see, if you look at your organic traffic to your website has gone down on average 60% between January of this year and where we sit right now.
Okay.
Now, if you listen to what people are saying, they're thinking something is different. It's got to be the economy. It's got to be Trump. It's got to be this. It's got to be that. They're looking at everything else that has to be something that makes it feel like I'm working harder now than I've ever worked before for less of a return. But it's actually been AI. You see, Google quietly released this thing called AI overviews. And AI overviews means when you go to Google, Google will summarize a whole bunch of stuff and they'll give you the answers before you get to the results at the bottom. And so it's zero click, so to speak, zero click information. They don't have to go to your website.
Okay.
But the impact has been severe for so many different business owners because they don't have the opportunity to capture the visitor, get their interest, and with hopes try to convert them, let alone some of the more advanced techniques like dropping a cookie for retargeting and all that other fun stuff, right?
Sure. Sure.
But that's just scratching the surface. What we're going to see in 2026 is going to be significantly more disruptive than what we've seen right now. We're seeing AI overviews. But in a few weeks, it's estimated that Google will turn around and they will default to what's known as AI mode. And AI mode is much different. In fact, you may even be able to find the button called AI mode in Google and click on it and type in your keywords and see what pops up. ChatGPT has released a browser called Atlas. A lot of people aren't using it yet, but when you start to use it, and you actually understand how to leverage the power of Atlas, it is extraordinarily powerful. And then that changes the experience because by default, it's not going to give you websites. It's going to give you information. And so it's going to give you information on, you might say, best accountant in blah, blah, blah city. And it's going to say, well, based on everything I know about you, Charlie, here's the top 3 recommendations that I would choose. Would you like me to run a comparison for you? Please. Here's how Gary compares to this person and compares to that person. So based on these 3, Gary might be the good fit. Would you like to see his reviews? Yes. Here's the reviews. Here's the strengths and here's the weaknesses. What were you hoping to accomplish with Gary? Hoping to accomplish this. You may also want to consider this person and this person and this person. And so it helps you throughout that buyer's journey. That's just barely scratching the surface of what
Right.
we're talking about here. So, because of what keeps me up at night is the same thing that actually I love most about my business. Working with some great, smart people, they're expecting me to help them stay 1 foot in front of everybody else. And AI is so disruptive right now, and there's so much stuff that's going on. We need to be able to stay in front to give people the advantage. It's right now when people think about it, it's overwhelming. Chances are you're probably feeling your blood pressure go up a little bit because it's like, oh my God.
Right.
But do you know how to ensure you don't get eaten by a bear, Gary? How
Yeah,
do you
don't
not
go
get
near
eaten?
one. Don't go near
Well,
one.
that's a good one.
Or
But let's say
don't be the slowest person in the group.
that's the answer. That's the answer. You
Right.
got to be just a little bit faster than the next guy. So if you think about the percentage of people having the conversation that we're having right now, it is a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a percent.
Right.
They're not having this conversation. This could be one of the best times in the world for you and I to be in business. All you need to do is be a little bit better than the next guy. And if you can just be a little bit better, you have the opportunity to get more business than you would have ever had any other time in the past because it's allowing you to be seen in places that the others can't be seen.
Right.
And so, there's we're again just scratching the surface, but when we talk about what am I obsessing myself over, it's the disruptions and the changes in the buyer's journey right now that I want to know because it arguably may be the biggest opportunity that I will have ever seen and will ever see in my lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
That's it's one of those things that I think that I haven't gone as deep as you have with this, but certainly, I hear people often, oh, AI is not going to do, or oh, it's going to replace people, whatever. And it's like, but nobody's talking about it the way that you just talked about it for sure.
right.
Um, but it's one of those things where it's like, okay, hey, we need to find it, we need to do it. Um, and not, I'm going to say, and not be afraid of it. We need to embrace it
You're right.
to a point, because it is going to, I don't think that, I look at it from the accounting industry. I'm not worried about AI replacing me because yes, can somebody have AI do a tax return form? Sure.
Yeah,
But there's so much stuff that AI can't do that I can do. But I'm using AI in my everyday business to help me
absolutely.
do things faster, smarter, and just, again, create more time for other things.
Absolutely.
Because I think that lots of times as business owners and stuff, there's only an infinite amount of time in a day,
Yeah.
and we are always selling, basically selling our time, and we need to
Yep.
really get it to where we're flipping that script, and we're not selling our time anymore. We're selling our experiences and things like that to be able to help, just like you guys are with the coaching. You're not selling time, you're selling, hey, we're going to be able to help you do things better, faster, quicker, smarter, whatever it is that the owners are looking for. um,
When you think about AI in the context that you just mentioned, so this is a different context, but a context that you just mentioned, I know how to use AI really, really well. I've built bots. We have bots available for our clients, the whole deal, to help them implement and do things that much faster. That just, give you context of how well I know AI. I'm not going to do your job better than you.
right.
And the reason why that is because the quality of the input is directly reflective of the quality of the output. You have years of experience to know the questions to ask in order to get the output, right? So
Right.
it's my son, he's a freshman now at the University of Florida. And I said to him, unlike any other time throughout history, you don't need to know the answers, kid. You don't need to know the answers. You don't worry about knowing the answers. That's not your advantage. He says, Dad, I'm really confused right now. What do you mean? The advantage is going to go to the person that knows to ask the questions that nobody else has thought to ask. And
Right.
so much of that is going to come through context. When people look at a painting, they don't turn around and go, wow, that paintbrush created the most beautiful painting. All the credit goes to the paintbrush. They don't look at that. They go, it was the painter that created the paintbrush. When you look at the output, it's really it's the input that created the output. You're the painter, and AI is only then the paintbrush.
Hmm.
The people that have to worry about it are the people that don't put any strategic or critical thought into their output. So if they're just data entry and that's it, well, you're going to probably need to start thinking about different ways that you can level up your skills and your experience. But here's a beautiful thing about AI that most people don't realize. AI is actually designed to help you compete against it. You could even say something like, hey, I work for Acme Accounting Firm as an administrative assistant. Please familiarize yourself with acmeaccountingfirm.com. Look through the company, the industry, the competitors, and so forth. Understand my role as an executive assistant. What are all the ways in which my role will be disrupted in the year 2026 and beyond? And I'll name all that stuff. What are the skills and the abilities that I need to adapt in order to remain relevant in my role? And it will turn around and it will tell you, this is now your path.
Hmm.
And you just enhance and improve your skills. But it's the people that are going to sit there and say, AI won't disrupt my role. AI won't disrupt my business. AI won't do that. Well, you're going to be the first ones to then, lose your job. It's
Right.
like somebody saying, "Oh, I'm not going to use a calculator because I've been doing it on a slide rule all my life."
Right.
Right? It's like, well, good luck with that one.
Right.
Right? But my entire life, and I'm sure you can relate, there's always been every few years something comes out and they're like, this will be the end of
Hmm.
employees. It was automations, through what do you call it? Manufacturing automations when they're You know
Yeah,
what I'm
the
talking about.
not the conveyor belt, but
Exactly.
the assembly
Well,
line.
yeah, the assembly lines and the technology in there, they're like, it's gonna be all their employers, manufacturing is gonna go out. Then it was, there's gonna be no such thing as actors because of this technology. There's gonna be no such thing as this because the internet, no such thing as this. Like, there's always been this cry that there's gonna be no work for
Yeah.
everybody.
It-
Computers and internet and everything else, no work for everybody. I look at this and I'm like, you know what? Is this going to be one of the biggest challenges of humanity in many ways? Yes, but humans are resilient. We've always proven ourselves to be resilient. People are going to develop skills that we've never even discussed or talked about right now. They're just going to be new skill sets and people will become better at something else.
right, right. I agree. I agree
Just
with you. I mean, I think that it's here. We need to embrace it. You need to learn how to use it to help you be better at what you're doing. There's no doubt about that. Charles, I could sit here and talk to you all day. I like your stuff. I like your enthusiasm, in what you do, and it definitely comes out. What have I not asked you wish I had?
Oh, okay, that's a good question. I would say if there was one question that you could have asked me, maybe it would be, um, uh, well, it would be probably something around mindset. Like, uh, and and I guess this is why why I said something around mindset. As as a business owner, we're faced with challenges every single day.
Hmm.
If you're not faced with challenges, first of all, you're not trying hard enough. So let's just kind of get that out of the way. Like
Yep.
you should be faced with challenges. How you deal with the challenges is going to have a direct reflection of what the outcome looks like. Whether we're talking about AI, whether we're talking about a disgruntled employee, an upset client or customer, or whatever that might be, you could approach it by going, oh, this person is a jerk and this and that. Why is this happening to me? And oh my gosh, and the economy and oh, politics is driving me nuts. And then Trump did this and now I'm blah, 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 blah. And it's like you could just go on and your focus could just be there. And what you're going to do is your brain goes to this place where it's going to constantly reaffirm every reason why you're right, every reason why that person is a
Right.
jerk, every reason why you've been wronged, every reason why why politics is impacting your business, whatnot. Or you take a different approach and you could say, why is this the best thing to happen to me right now? We've had situations in our company where, like any business, that we had an issue, and inadvertently upset someone. So my team, we get together, the alarm bells are sounding, something happened. How did we go wrong? I go, stop. Why could this be the best thing in the world to happen to us right now? And they always look at me like I'm smoking the wacky tobacco. And I'm like, no, why could this be the best thing in the world to happen to us right now? And they go, I don't know. I don't think there is a good reason. No, we're not getting off this call until you help me address this one thing. Why could this be the best thing? Well, we probably shows a weakness in this particular thing. Got it. What else could happen? We should have known about this beforehand. And how would we have done that? By doing this. Got it. What else? And then we kind of hash everything through. And they go from being upset to all of a sudden seeing opportunity everywhere.
Yep.
And then they create systems and processes and innovation through that opportunity, and it doesn't happen again. And we become better for it. Whether, again, we could look at AI and say, what could AI be the best thing in the world to happen to my business right now? Many of us are going, I don't know. It's a little scary. I'm nervous. I can't figure it out. But why could it be the best? You dig into it and you start thinking, oh my gosh, we really are in the best time in the world for us to be in business right now. This could be the biggest opportunity ever presented to you in our entire lifetime, if you know how to play cards right.
Right.
So yes, I would say it really is mindset. I've spoken to thousands and thousands and thousands of people from the world throughout the world, several of them billionaires, and I'm always eager to figure out what's the strategy. What's the strategy? Like, give me the juicy. I
Right.
offered to pay Richard Branson. I said I'll buy you lunch anywhere in the world. You just tell me where you're at. I will fly anywhere in the world, buy you lunch because I just want to know like what is that secret sauce that only he knows that if he could just tell me, then I'll finally get to this breakthrough, blah, blah, blah. And I realized after speaking to so many people that everything works and nothing works at the same time. What it comes down to is its constant persistence and having the right mindset to get up every time you fall down and to see opportunities everywhere they possibly could exist.
Hmm.
And then, that's it. You persist forward with the right mindset and you get there faster with the right strategy. That's sort of the multiplier effect,
Right.
or the right community, which is another multiplier effect.
Hmm.
And, but those are multiplier effects. It doesn't, you still can get there, right? With the right strategy and the right mindset. And, so be it.
Right. Charles, people got to like what they just have heard with this. How can they reach out to you? Where can they find you? Where can they learn more about predictable profits?
Sure. Predictableprofits.com would be the best way for people to learn a little bit more about me and what we do. Again, that's predictableprofits.com. They can also get a copy of my book on predictableprofits.com. There's a little link there, and they can grab a copy of my book called The Predictable Profits Playbook. Um, they could go on LinkedIn and follow me over at Charles Gaudet, Gaudet. If you do want to connect with me, you just got to tell me you've been on Gary's podcast, and then I'll accept you as long as you've been on this podcast here.
Appreciate it.
Um, and yeah, I'm here to serve and help as many people as I possibly can. And so we try to put out as much information and resources. And we actually have this really cool tool on the website that I created. When you go to the website, it says take the first step. Gary, you'll love this. I would highly encourage you to do this. You say take the first step. You fill out some information on that form. And what it does is, in business school, they teach you about the ICP, or the ideal client profile.
Hmm.
But what happens is when you get your business to a certain point, it's no longer the ideal client profile. Ideal client profiles are theoretical. It's theoretical. It's just who do we want to work with? Once you have enough data, you have what's known as a super consumer. This is our best client. This is our best client, the best type of people. If I could just get more people like this, my business would go to the next level.
Right.
And what we've done is through AI, you answer a few different questions on that form. It will go ahead and it will look at your website and research your website. It will look at the competitors. It will look at the industry. It will take your ideal client based on the information you shared. It will go look deep into the buyer's journey and the decisions, the pains, everything that they go through, what they're currently using to try to get out of the problem that they're in right now. And it will compile it and then email you this giant report about everything that you need to know about the super consumer so that you can adjust your messaging on your website, on your emails, on your advertising and whatnot to attract more of those people. Because if all you did was get more of your best clients, think about what that would do to your income.
Oh, yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
for free on our website. And we're doing that just to give people just a taste of some of the work that we can do together.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I really appreciate that. Everybody, our guest this week was Charles Gaudet, and he is the CEO of Predictable Profits. And if you guys haven't seen, he is very passionate about what he does. A lot of good stuff on his website. So please make sure you reach out. And I'll see you guys next week.